All ready to CV challenge Black Dusk Clown, Armera Arsenal, Flashbang Revenge, and no explosives. We haven't got any explosives, and well, we don't actually have an F57 nor a CHA, but we can most definitely make do with that in the sense that we could just hide the saw blade in there, and then afterwards do literally anything else, which is just grabbing a bunch of explosives, then going through here and getting the hack started before going back over here, and then getting our saw blade back out because we do indeed have to actually use the saw blade for something, which is first of all, that, and secondly, whenever the units show up, all of that, which doesn't sound particularly problematic for now, but it definitely will at some point. I mean, there's still, hi there, there's still Flashbang Revenge, which for now doesn't matter, but it definitely will when we have 200 units right beside us, and they're all shooting at us. And once they're all dead, we've got 4 flashbangs waiting for us on the floor, which is not actually much better than whatever we had beforehand, so really? We don't know? Right then. So, for the remaining units, we're just gonna do that. We're gonna hide the saw blade, and then we're just gonna go in that direction, which seems vaguely obvious, but hopefully Cyber follows along because that's quite important. And then we're just gonna go over here and we're gonna start blowtorching since that's just what no explosives brings. It's not really all that great, so while Cyber throws 200 bullets down in that direction, we're just gonna do this real quick, and then afterwards we're gonna start blowtorching inside, which might take a while, but hopefully Cyber will help with the lower set of bars once we're relatively done with the units from earlier. Just saying, you can help with it and make it go faster. That's... You could do the bottom half, which is great and all, but right now we're getting a bit closer to units showing up, so we're just gonna finish that up. We're gonna do that. It looked for a second like Cyber was shooting at me, but hopefully that was not the case, because that would have ended quite badly. And then we're just gonna use the MM20 and go really, really fast, so now that we're done with this, we're just gonna go over here, and we're just gonna post up over here, and then presumably, once things are relatively done, we're just gonna run out of here. No action so far, so we're just gonna wait. And then afterwards, we've got more blowtorching to do, because it's still, well, no explosives. Which means that I'm gonna go straight down while Cyber blowtorches that, so that we can maybe get a few C4s. Alright, so in total we've got 1 medkit, and well, whatever that is. So we're just gonna go up through here instead, and then awkwardly worry about what's gonna happen, which I already hear breaching, so that's already great. So hopefully Cyber's got that covered whilst I organize what I've got in my inventory. And now that things are seemingly clear over there, I'm just gonna watch our back over there. Hi there. Speaking of which. And then afterwards we can just go through here. Ignore all of that. Grab the 1 C4 that we could potentially make use of. And then heal up, because that's kind of how this works. That was mildly rude. Right then. There is that F57 that I do want to get, so we're just going to quickly do that. Grab ourselves the F57 yet again. And then clear the units over here, which there are flashbangs, I'm realizing, so we might want to avoid that for a bit. And I guess since Cyber doesn't want that, we'll grab the medkit. And then we'll immediately use the medkit because of that 1 CBRC unit. And then we'll run out of here after grabbing a bit of some vague ammunition. Now Cyber seems done downstairs, and well, there's still 1 more medkit there, which has since been taken, so that's perfectly fine by me, and we're just gonna go down through here instead. And then face back over here once the flashbangs are finally done exploding, which seems a bit like a given, but we're just gonna quickly open this up, close this back up, not get shot from the close range units that are moving in from a relatively close range. And then clear all of the threats over there, which... Shame they weren't explosive in the sense that they explode rather than flashbang explode, because that would have maybe done a bit of damage to all of these units here. So we're just gonna wait over here now, and things should be done relatively soon. At least that's the hope. And then afterwards we're gonna have to determine whether we want to explode the first door or the second door, because we've only got one C4 and that's generally not all that great. So I'm just gonna start moving now, because right now seems like a great time. I say great time, but that's happening right now, so maybe not the best time, so we'll just clear all of that. And once the flashbang's finally clear, start moving, because right now seems like the absolute perfect time. So thankfully this door is at least open so that we can go all the way through here. And generally, hopefully avoid units, because that's generally not what we want. So we're just going to go over here. We're going to grab the medkit. Then we're just going to blowtorch over here. Back off a bit so that we can vaguely see both sides, because that's kind of important for what we're trying to do here. And then afterwards, once it's done opening, we're just going to quickly rush inside. Maybe get a screwdriver, and then use the C4 on the second door so that we can at least get out of there relatively soon, which seems like the ideal characteristic here. And for this spot, we're just going to blowtorch it halfway, because the units can definitely be moving. And I'm going to check for any units that are showing up, which so far, absolutely nothing, which is generally a good thing, so we're just going to continue on it. I'm going to pay yet another visit to the doorway, and then we're going to do it yet again, go down through the vent, and then, well, it's supposedly relatively simple over here, which is really just running over here, placing a C4 over here, not cutting the window over there, hopping down over there, detonating that, going back up over here, placing the 2 explosives, and then afterwards running out of here, hopefully without getting shot, which is generally a rather important characteristic. So we're just going to go through here, and once we're out of here, we're going to grab an Fi7, we're going to peek over here, which we haven't met anyone, which is generally a great thing. So we're going to go through here, and well, hopefully we're not going to meet anyone over there. And thanks to Cyber, we can just grab that 2 over there, and then just wait over here. Now the vault is opening, so we're just going to advance over here. We're going to plant one over here. Then once our sprint regenerates, we're just going to sprint all the way over there, place one over there, and things should be relatively simple from there on out. Now there is one medkit over here, so we're just going to grab it, and then leave it for Cyber somewhere convenient, which is presumably just going to be somewhere over here, let's say. And then afterwards, we're just going to avoid dying. For now. Because Cyber's slowly coming back up, which... Where are you? Nice to meet all of you. Let's heal up before we actually take too much damage. And then take one more medkit from over here, drop a bag over here. And presumably Cyber started that, so we're actually going to grab out his saw blade, because that's genuinely useful sometimes, in a sense that other than reloading right now in an arduously slow manner, we could do that, which... Once things are sorted, we're going to grab our MM20 back out, and not the Fi7, though I do want the Fi7, and then we're just going to awkwardly post up over there. But regardless, that's a daily challenge done in just over 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Cheers everyone, have a great time!